The Celtic Forever podcast is a zero advert and zero profit channel. The channel also includes Celtic highlights and player interviews, so join the uninterrupted fun and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.
Hello folks, a Merry Christmas and a warm welcome to the Celtic Forever podcast. I am Xander. I've got John with us here to discuss Livingston versus Celtic. Later on today we've got the big game, the big kick-off is at 3 o'clock. We're all looking forward to that, but we'll touch on some news, some other stuff and various different things that have been going on around about Celtic and beyond. So let's bring in John. How are you, John? How was your Christmas?
Aye, all right. How was yourself? Your own Christmas, should I say?
Yeah, Christmas is fine, John. It's done and dusted for another year. The transfer window is only a few days away as well, you've got to remember. So there's, various different stories coming out of that, isn't there? But no, John, it's all about Celtic just now for us, John. Christmas is over, New Year is coming up. We're hoping to start this new year with a bang and start putting the fear into some of these clubs that have been having a bit of a giggle, shall we say, in Celtic's behalf, John. Your Rangers supporters, your Hearts supporters, John. We need to now put the foot down on the neck, as they say, John, and but more or less kickstart our season as of kick-off later on today against Livingston.
Aye, well, we started last week against Aberdeen, but it's a tough game at Livingston as well, and this is a very tough game. I never look forward to Celtic going there, but it was a bit of a bogey place. But it seems the last maybe season and a half or whatever Celtic have, or the last couple of seasons under Rodgers, Celtic's had quite a lot of joy there. We can only hope that continues.
Various wins, unbeaten in something like 9 games, or 9 wins in a row. Is it something like that? It's quite an impressive record against Livingston, but of course. Celtic are not in form just now. Okay, yes, we did get that win against Aberdeen at Celtic Park last weekend, John. Very convincing win. I got that right in the league table there. Get your guess in for the Livingston game, folks, by the way. Get your guess in for the correct score. That is 3 points for any correct score if you're in that league table. And even if you're not in that league table, put in a wee guess anyway. But no, John. 3 points for me, 3 points for Fatboy 1967 and 3 points for Claire. All of us said 3-1 to Celtic versus Aberdeen. I also got Hearts 2, Rangers 1 and the 1-1 predictor against ourselves, John, you and I. So that's us up to, is it 19-11, something like that, John?
Aye, it's 19-11 between you and me. The league table, that's you on 6 points now, starting to climb it a wee bit there, Xander.
Yeah, that's me on 6, John. You're on 9. Roseanne's on 9. Top of the league. We've got Collins on the 12. We've got Mad About Football. Yeah, John, we've just got... it's kicking off the league table as well, to be fair. It's getting very interesting to win that fantastic prize come the end of the season if you are top of the league table. But anyway, that's it for the competition. Get your entries in for that, folks. Celtic versus Livingston at Almond Vale on 3 o'clock later on Sunday. Right, John? Let's get into it then.
Is it no Saturday, by the way?
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, I mean, that's it. See, Christmas and New Year, John, you get your days all mixed up, didn't you? It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Mondays, Wednesday. Everything is upside down when it comes to the festive season. It really is. But no, John, you're right. Yeah, it's Saturday, 3 o'clock kick-off. And by the way, the game is not on Sky Sports, John. It's only on Celtic TV. If you can get Celtic TV anywhere, that's where you'll get the game. So Celtic playing away from home, John, and it's not on the telly. It's not very good, that, is it?
No, it's very unusual, but we've seen that a few times last season as well, by the way. Celtic playing away and the game's no on Sky. But anybody looking for the game, I'm sure you will find it somewhere. I don't like Sky anyway. I don't like the commentary on Sky, Ian Crocker. I've never been a fan of his. Obviously, I don't like Chris Boyd. And we've got big Chris Sutton there, I suppose. That's the only good thing about Sky.
Yeah, of course. And even he's beginning to, John, begin to take some sips of soup, shall we say. Some of the things that Big Chris is beginning to say is beginning to, annoy me. I know I'm not going to go into that, but I have noticed a wee change in Big Chris Sutton as well, John.
To be honest with you, most of the time I don't listen to commentators. I'm too busy watching action. I'm watching everything, I'm watching defenders while Celtic are attacking and all that stuff. Now and again, I kind of pay attention to what's happening if there's a contentious decision on the park or something like that. I'm maybe listening to them, but I'd say probably 80% of a game I'm kind of watching everything in the game rather than listen to commentators. But sometimes you can't help but hear stuff,
Yeah, just various wee things that Big Chris would never normally say, like, he's stonewall penalties to Celtic and he's hitting it with things like get up and get on with it, stuff like that. When it's stonewall, we only mention it when it is stonewall, John, because when it's a fair decision, we'll say it's a fair decision, but Big Chris, he's beginning to take some of that soup, I think. John, let's get into the news anyway. Who cares what Big Chris Sutton thinks anyway? Let's get into the news before we get into the preview of the Livingston game. And we'll start with a wee tribute to Big John Robertson. John, Martin O'Neill's assistant, passed away yesterday. John passed away yesterday. Rest in peace to Big John Robertson. Big gentleman of a fella, John. Nice big guy. Martin O'Neill was sitting man in charge there. Martin O'Neill absolutely loved Big John Robertson. Took him everywhere, didn't he? But he's passed away, John, so rest in peace to Big John Robertson.
Condolences to his family as well. John Robertson, legend as well, isn't he? Well loved by all the Celtic fans, John Robertson. I've seen that this morning. Very sad news. Rest in peace, John Robertson. Sad news.
Very, very sad news. And he also had a smile on his face, the big man, didn't he? We didn't really hear him speak very much to the cameras, We didn't do very many interviews, Big Robertson. But, he was Martin O'Neill's right-hand man, wasn't he? So, as you say, John, condolences to his family as well. He'll be sadly missed. And Martin O'Neill, he'll be feeling it as well. He's one of his best friends. And, his working colleague as well, John. So, rest in peace to him. Okay. Let's move on with the news, John. And this next one, I'm going to hit on a couple of wee rumours here because we always like to speak of rumours, especially when the transfer window is about to open in a few days. We mentioned this, John. This next one, we mentioned this over 2 weeks ago. Talking about 2.5 weeks ago, we mentioned this. And now the Daily Record came out today as a Daily Record special. Diego Rossi wants to transfer to Celtic, and Celtic are prepared to put in a bid for Diego Rossi. Now, I mentioned this to you, John, about 2 weeks ago. You said you never heard of the guy, but he is a prolific goal scorer. Scored 48 goals in 2 seasons for his current club, John. Daily Record came out today with the big headline, Diego Rossi to Celtic. But it's good news, John, because if we do get this guy, I mean, any striker scoring, that amount of goals for any team, John, and I mean any team, doesn't matter what country they play in. But he scored 48 goals for Columbus Crew in the space of 2 seasons, John. So he can't be bad at all. He's 27-year-old. He's also, so that gives him a wee bit of experience as well. And also Celtic are ready to put in a bid for this boy.
Aye, like I said, I don't know anything about the guy. He's got a good name though, isn't he? Diego Rossi. It sounds good. Sounds a nice Italian name, that Italian centre forward. Obviously he is Italian. That's a very Italian name if ever you heard one. But Italian American maybe, something like that. But look, there's a lot of good players in the American League, the MLS. A lot of good players there. It's not a Mickey Mouse league. A lot of good teams there, half decent teams. Same with Canada. We've got guys like Alistair Johnston, good players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've also the American guys. We've got Carter-Vickers and Big Austin Trusty, decent players as well. So, a lot of good players come from America. I look forward to seeing them if indeed he does sign.
Yeah, if indeed he does sign, John. I mean, we don't know. Obviously, we're just speaking about rumour just now, but it's just good to hear that we're actually there's some serious links to some half decent players. We're also linked with another winger, John. Obviously, we need wingers because the winger situation is quite dire at Celtic just now. Even the forward situation, John, wingers, forwards, midfield isn't great either, and defence is leaking goals right, left, and centre. And we've got a goalkeeper that can't keep a clean sheet, John. So up from top to bottom, the full team, as you said last week, John, in the last podcast, just needs rebuilt.
I think so. It needs a fresh lick of paint, shall we say? It's been a bit stale, isn't it? I mean, Celtic's strength over the last few years has been the forward line, and that's totally gone. Obviously, we've got our main striker, if you like, in the actual injured, seems a bit injury prone in the actual. So that's always a concern when you've got an injury prone striker. We need a couple of strikers, I think. Another couple of wingers. We'll still get Jota taken back, mind you, as well. Centre of the park, Callum McGregor still getting linked for a move away and all that stuff. I hope he doesn't leave. Who else is there? Goalkeeper, of course, Kasper Schmeichel. He needs to be benched. I don't care what anybody says listening to this. He needs benched, and Sinisalo's got to be our number one from now on. That's just my opinion. Other people might have a different opinion, although I have seen in a lot of places comments and stuff that they want Kasper Schmeichel dropped. Defence, like you says as well, it needs freshening up. Vickers injured, he's probably going to be for the rest of the season. We're left with Trusty and Scales. And the way Nancy's been playing the team recently, there's only one proper centre half playing, and that's Austin Trusty. He's playing with guys like Kieran Tierney beside him and Anthony Ralston. For me, that doesn't work.
Definitely not. Even Aberdeen, even though we sort of played them off the park, they did, break through the defensive lines a few times, John, Aberdeen, and that's at Celtic Park, you've got to remember. What about the link to Kyogo coming back to Celtic? Obviously, that's quite a strong rumour. Obviously, probably nonsense, John, but I don't want this to happen, to be honest with you. I don't want Kyogo coming back to Celtic, to be honest with you. He couldn't wait to leave the club for a start. And then at Birmingham, John, he's missed sitter after sitter. Can hardly score a goal at Birmingham, and he's strongly linked to a move back to Celtic. John, what do you think of that?
No, I'm on the same side as you. I don't want Kyogo back. He did us proud when he was here, but coming to the end of his Celtic career, like he says, he wanted away. He was his face was tripping him constantly, and he's obviously learned, like most players that leave Celtic, all that glitters is not gold. And he would come back to Celtic in a second if he got the chance. But I don't think Celtic will take him back. He's finished.
Yeah. Well, there is links there, John. More links in the butchers, but he is linked to Celtic. Okay, another bit of news was Rio Hatate. Everyone was wondering where he was against Aberdeen last weekend. He just picked up a virus, John. He was ill. He was no well. Picked up a virus. He'll be ready, fit, and available for the Livingston game later on today.
All right. Oh, there you go then. That's. I think we did. I don't think we really missed him in the game against Aberdeen. I think Celtic. This is my opinions, by the way. Anybody listening might not agree, but my personal opinion is Celtic look better without him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the result told you everything you need to know there, John. Last week, with Rio missing. And by the way, we were absolutely brilliant against Aberdeen from start to finish. I know the 10 men did help, but even with 11 against 11, I thought we were absolutely brilliant against them. So, maybe Nancy's beginning to get his word across. We'll find out later on today. If it was just a lucky one-off, we'll find out against Livingston. But John, we did play well against Aberdeen. We had a wee say on that. I know it was a week ago, but it was a very, very powerful and decent, dominant performance against Aberdeen, who, by the way, were a non-forum team.
I don't think they'd lost in 7 games or something, Aberdeen, domestically.
Yeah.
Look, I thought the performance was spot on. A couple of wee iffy moments in the defence still, but generally speaking, that was a great performance. Constant attacking. I think we hit the woodwork 5 times.
Yeah.
The keeper was pulling off save after save after save. Lots of sitters missed by Johnny Kenny, of course. And various other chances from Celtic. So, it was a tip-top performance. Play like that against Livingston, we won't have any issues at all. If we play like that against Livingston, we'll wait and see. Not long to wait.
Not long to wait at all to kick off, but I think when you look at the last set of fixtures, Rangers went to Tynecastle. Rangers were absolutely dreadful against Hearts, John. And to be fair to Hearts, by the way, because I actually watched the game, I thought they were decent, John. I know you've said a few times, they're a dreadful team, they've been lucky and everything else that you've said over the last few weeks. And I agree with you, because they have been dreadful and they have been lucky. And you've got to bear in mind it was only Rangers they were playing against. But, Rangers do have some decent players there, even though they're not gelling as a team. But Hearts played them off the park, John. And the wee boy Devlin in midfield for them, I thought was absolutely outstanding, John.
I've said it for a long time. I liked him. For about the last 8 months anyway, I've said I like Devlin. I think he's a half-decent wee player. The only problem I've got with Devlin is he's a bit too feisty for me. I think if he was to put in some of the tackles that he does with Hearts, if he was to put them in as a Celtic player, he'd be sent off. Quite a lot, by the way.
Yeah, he picks up plenty of yellow cards for Hearts, didn't he? But, he ran the show in that game. I've not saw much of that boy. Because when he plays Celtic, when he's playing against Celtic, you don't really pay attention to the Hearts players. You're watching what the Celtic boys are doing. But I paid attention to him, John, against Rangers, and he totally bullied them. He actually bullied them for the entire 90 minutes. The last half an hour I didn't see, because obviously I was going to watch the Celtic game. But up until that last half hour, he totally dominated them. The Rangers midfield didn't have a look in, to be honest with you. So that put Hearts 12 points ahead of the Rangers, John, and 9 points ahead of us. So then we beat Aberdeen. That brings it back to 6 with a game in hand, which brings us to this weekend's fixtures. And by the way, the full card is on Saturday today, John. The full card is today. So we'll go through the predictor a wee bit later on. Right, John, let's get into the preview then. Unless there's any wee bits of news you want to add, John, anything you've heard?
No, I was reading a couple of players linked with Celtic the day earlier. That was this morning, right enough, but I haven't read any news other than that. Just players linked. I just kind of flick through that stuff unless it's kind of catches my eye, then I won't. But the Rossi one was the only one I was going to mention. I think there's a lot of proof in that one that's a truthful story, but the rest, there's nothing in it. Giakoumakis, nor that he's apparently been put up for sale. Would you take him back, Giakoumakis?
I would, John. I would take Giakoumakis back. He didn't get much of a chance there at Celtic because of the other strikers we had for the club at the time, and we sold him. But I thought he was a very decent striker. He did miss a lot of easy chances as well. But which striker doesn't he miss all these easy chances, to be fair? But if he is linked, John, I didn't see that one myself. If he is linked, I would take him back in a heartbeat. Kyogo, no, that's a no for me. And obviously Diego Rossi, a 48, 50 goal striker in less than 2 seasons, John. He can't be bad. I know it's Columbus Crew. I know I don't know if it's a lower level than the SPL, John, but 50 goals in less than 2 seasons is a very decent set of results for any player, John, to be honest with you. All right, Livingston, John, they're seeking the first win in the league since August. It's a long wait for a win, isn't it? They're sitting rock bottom of the table. But they're physical, John. They always have been a big physical team. I don't think there's a team in the league just now that isn't physical. Every team we come up against, or maybe it's just Celtic that isn't physical, John, and all the rest of the teams are just normal. Because every time we come up against a team, it's always big physical strapping lads, 6'6" plus defenders, 6 feet midfielders, 6 feet forwards. Whereas we've got players like, Rio Hatate, very small, Callum McGregor, small, the wingers small, Dyson, Yang, defenders are quite small. They're not small, but they're not as tall as some of these guys. Ralstons, etc., Kieran Tierney's, John, they're no giants, are they?
No, they're far from giants. Well, I mean, you look at some of the players, there is a couple of 6-footers there. I think Yang's about 6 feet. Johnny Kenny, he must be about 6 feet, Johnny Kenny. Because I was watching his interview, one of the interviews with Callum McGregor beside him, and he was quite a bit taller than Cal Mack, who's 5'10". So Johnny Kenny must be over 6 foot, 6'1" maybe. Yes, we've got a couple of tall ones, Johnny Kenny, Yang, Arnie Engels, I think he's in the 6 foot range. Who else we got in the centre of the park? Nygren, he's quite tall. He's 6'1", 6'2". Obviously, we've got our centre halves. They're quite tall, 6'5", big Austin Trusty. Liam Scales must be 6'3". I've got a wee bit of height through the team, but generally speaking, like you says, a lot of your players are under the 6 foot, aren't they? James Forrest, Callum McGregor, Hatate, Dyson Maeda, guys like that. And wee shorties.
Yeah. Okay, you can be 6 feet tall, John, but they're not physical. They're 6 feet and unphysical, very, very light in weight. Your Johnny Kennys of this world, Arnie Engels of this world being brushed off the ball, very easily. Nygren, no strength at all. I just think the only physical strength that we have in the team is your Austin Trustees, your Liam Scales, the couple at the back there. And Scales doesn't even get a game under Nancy, John. So I just don't think we've got any physicality at all in the team, John. And all these other teams, your Livingstons, your Kilmarnocks, all these guys that we've been up against over the last few weeks, Hibs, Dundee United, Hearts, they're all very physical, John. When I say physical, I mean they've got strength. So I'm hoping when we look at this January transfer window that we can bring that wee bit of extra strength, John, a Scott Brown type player into that midfield at least, a physical striker like a Chris Sutton type striker, a Bobo Baldy type defender. These are the kind of players I want to see at the club, John.
Aye, it's always good to have a bit of physical strength in your team. I mean, you talk about Cammy Devlin, he must be about 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah.
But he's still physical. He's very physical. He gets stuck into everything. I don't know I think he's out of contract the end of this season. Am I right in saying that? I think he's out of contract the end of the season. So if Celtic are interested in him, then they could possibly get him on a free transfer for next season.
John, if he's out of contract at the end of the season, somebody's going to get a steal, no matter what. Even if Hearts get him to sign an extension to his contract, it's a steal for them. If somebody gets him in a pre-contract, it's clearly a steal for whoever that club is, John, because he's a decent wee player. You've got to give it to the boy. He's a decent player, Cammy Devlin. He's very Scott Brown-like, John. I think you said to me he's very Scott Brown-like. And he is. He's a wee tiger in the middle of that field. And imagine we had him in there with Callum McGregor as well, John. I think our midfield, just one player, I mean, that's all it takes to transform that midfield, but transform our midfield. I know the midfield's very decent. We've got a good midfield there. We've won trophy after trophy with that midfield, but the team does need freshened up, John, definitely.
It definitely needs a bit of strength in the centre of the park. Definitely needs that bit of strength. And I think, looking at him right now, Devlin, I think he's a Rangers fan, by the way. But that doesn't matter a job. We've had Rangers fans that have become Celtic legends, you know what I mean? Kenny Dalglish, Danny McGrain, guys like
that. Yeah.
That doesn't matter a job these days. So I think with somebody with his fighting attitude in the centre of the park would be a good thing for Celtic. I don't think we've got a player like that right now. And I include Callum McGregor in that. He's no that Scott Brown type player. But my worry is with somebody like Devlin is if he played for Celtic, he would see a lot more res than he did yellows, put it that way.
Yeah, possibility. But of course, we thought that about Scott Brown and look what happened to Scotty at Celtic, John. He didn't have many red cards, did he? One or two in his full career. So The manager can draw that out of any player, John. So anyway, I don't think he's got to Celtic. I think he's got to Celtic anyway.
No, I can't see it myself. I can't see it. I would welcome it right enough. Not sure if it would work for him at Celtic. Don't know. They get treble the wages at Celtic that he gets at Hearts, of course.
Yeah.
I was going to say something to you then. I can't remember what it was. Oh, I was talking about I was going to talk about the Aberdeen game again.
Yeah.
The big contentious decision, the Aberdeen player getting sent off, how the Scottish media have been up in arms about that. Why is it every time Celtic get a decision for them, a half-decent decision goes Celtic's way, this country is up in arms about it. The whole country up in arms, every fan in the country, Rangers fans, Hearts fans, all your media guys up in arms about the Aberdeen boy getting sent off. But they failed to mention the amount of times that Aberdeen players just fell in the game. Nobody anywhere near them, they were just falling and getting free kicks for nothing. But as soon as a Celtic player that happens with, you've got to remember, this is the only incident where there was actual contact and there was a decision for a referee to actually make. The boy's pulled Dyson back. And he's correctly awarded a red card. Why the up in arms about it?
John, he's through in goal. He's 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper and he gets pulled back. It's the definition of a red card. The rules of a red card. That is the number one definition of a red card. If there's a player through in goal with a goal scoring chance, running in on goal, not running away from goal, but running in on goal, and he's the last man. In fact, the only other men that was round about was Celtic players. So it's 100% a red card anyway. I've not saw the big hurrah about that, John. I've not even looked at it, to be honest with you. But nothing surprises me with the Scottish press. Nothing whatsoever.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? And it's not just the press. It's all if you read comments on YouTube, if you're watching videos, the whole country's up in arms about it. Disgraceful decision and all that. This is as blatant a red card as you're ever going to see. It doesn't come, like he says, that defines what a red card is.
Yeah.
Rather than, if you go right through somebody two-footed and snap the leg. But that's the definition of a straight red card. You're the last man, you pull the player back when he's throwing goal, you're off.
Yeah, well, that's it, John. That's what happens. Celtic were absolutely dominant in that game, but 11 against 11, and then the 10 men. I thought Celtic took the foot off the gas slightly when they got sent down to 10 men. So, maybe we've done them a favour, actually. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It was 3 points against an on-form Aberdeen team, against an off-form Celtic team. You've got to remember 4 defeats before that Aberdeen game. And we need to kick on against Livingston later on, John, because, the whole hullabaloo about wanting Nancy out of the club will return if we drop any points, if it's a draw, if we get beat, John, that will all return. You did say, John, on the preview to the Aberdeen game that you don't want to see or hear comments like Nancy must stay even if we beat Aberdeen, because you wanted to see a run of games where we can get a run of results. Aberdeen, Livingston, I think it's then Motherwell and then Rangers. Then we can maybe talk about, we can maybe understand what Nancy's trying to do. But we can't talk like that by 1-1 at home against Aberdeen.
Definitely no. I ain't getting carried away with the one against Aberdeen, even though the performance was top class.
Yeah.
I think you've got to see a run of 5, 6, 7, 8 games or whatever it is. No, whatever it is, just whatever. I'll run of games, basically. A run of wins. Because if Celtic start stringing a run of wins together, even call it 5 games even, Hearts they'll start to crumble. They'll see that Celtic are back and they'll start to crumble. And I give them all the credit in the world, by the way, Hearts, their performance against the Rangers. I think Hearts, like you say, Zella, absolutely dominated them. That game should have been about 8-0.
Yeah.
They absolutely dominated them. That's the best I've seen Hearts this season. But but like you says, they were only playing against a very, very poor Rangers team. I think Rangers have got better players than Hearts, to be honest with you, but they were really poor on the day. But we're here to talk about Celtic, no them. Wilfred, or Wilfried, whatever his name is, he's got to start putting a run of wins together after the 4 defeats in a row. I felt sorry for him with the Celtic fans singing what they did sing to him at Tannadice. I says that on that podcast. There's no need for that. I didn't think that was right. But the Celtic fans at that game are venting their frustration at how poor Celtic have been since he took over. But look, he's got his first win under his belt, and it was good to see the guy smiling. And I wish him to do well at Celtic. Of course, I wish him to do well. I want him to do fantastic. I want him to prove all the doubters wrong. I want him to prove me wrong. Because I've been on the bandwagon as well. I'm not going to kid myself. But at the end of the day, deep in my mind, I've always thought, I really want this guy to do well, is shut doubters up. Because he's been laughed at by the Scottish press and your other Scottish clubs fans and all that. He's been laughed at. So for that reason, I want him to make a success. It's under a big success. Carry on to the end of the season. Lift a couple of trophies. The 4 defeats will be long forgotten after that.
Yeah, of course, John. And you think about it, if Wilfred Nancy had Cameron Carter-Vickers at his disposal, John, if he had Alistair Johnston at his disposal, Jota, Callum Osmand, and the actual, all these guys that have been out long-term injury, John. You imagine if he had these guys at his disposal, maybe they had
Saracchi as well.
Saracchi as well, yeah, another one, John, and a few others. So he has had it tough with all these injuries, John, but he is now, but in the next few days, he's going to bring in his own players, John, and we'll maybe see what exactly it is he's trying to do at Celtic with this 3-4-2-1 formation, John. We'll get to see what it is he's trying to do when he starts bringing in a few of his players, John. So, but you've got to bear in mind as well, John, these guys are all serial winners, league after league, trophy after trophy, doing well in Europe last season. So, he should be getting the best out of them as well. But he does have that handicap, if you like, with all these top quality players out injured, John. So we'll wait and see. Right, back to this game then later on, John. Livingston, they do have Cameron Kerr out injured. They have Shane Blaney out injured also. Aidan Denholm, he's also out. He's still trying to recover from a hamstring injury. And Adam Montgomery, he's also out with injuries, missed the last few games. But he can't play anyway. He's on loan from Celtic, isn't he, Adam Montgomery? I'm quite sure. Could be wrong, but I think he's on loan from Celtic. No, in fact, he signed a permanent contract at Livingston, John, actually. So I'm wrong there, but he is out injured anyway. So Adam Montgomery is missing this one as well. Celtic, on the other hand, we just mentioned the injuries there, John. We'll mention them again. Any actual injured, Cameron Carter-Vickers injured out for the rest of the season. Jota, Balak shot on international duty. Tanetti on international duty as well. Jota out injured. I know the other ones, John. I can't even be annoyed going through them. There's that many.
I just think Saracchi's been a big loss for Celtic because I love him. I think he's a fantastic player, Saracchi. I think he adds a lot to Celtic. I think the Celtic players themselves, when he's playing, I think he puts a bit of confidence in the Celtic team with his pace and his power. He's a cracking player. I can't wait till he comes back. I think we've really missed him the last few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. There's no timeline on any actual, and there's no timeline on Saracchi either, John. So that's a bit strange. We just got told that Hatate is back after an illness, John. He wasn't injured, just an illness for him. Where will we go next then regarding this big game later on today, John? We'll quickly have a wee look at the betting, I think, actually. Let's have a wee look at the betting. There it's there. I've got it here wrote down. We have Livingston, John, at 11-2, just over the 5-1 mark. The draw priced at 4-1. And of course, Celtic priced at 1-2. Celtic have been 1-2, John, in the last 3 games. So 2 defeats and a win. But every single game, whether it's Dundee United, whether it was Hibs, whether it was Aberdeen, we've been placed at 1-2, and we're 1-2 again, John. So I think the bookmakers are just playing it safe there. But Livingston, John, rock bottom of the league, no wins in 4 or something like that, similar to Celtic really, until we beat Aberdeen last week. But no wins in 4, no wins in 9, sorry, and no wins in the last 4. They've had a few draws before they 4 games, John, but no wins at all in 9. So that's why they're bottom of the league, John. So we've got to bear in mind we're playing a team that's bottom of the league here.
Aye, and look, when we go to this Livingston Stadium, I can't remember, Tony Macaroni, I don't know if it's still called that, but I think when we go to this place, there's 3/4 of the stadium with Celtic fans. This is like a home game for Celtic. So you've got to bear that in mind. There'll be a lot of Celtic fans there. 3/4 of that wee stadium full of Celtic fans. It's like a home game. They put on some atmosphere at that ground, the Celtic fans. The only drawback is that plastic pitch.
Yeah, that's another thing. Just another thing we need to contend with. Weather-wise, it's just going to be the usual sort of dull, damp day. Nothing too bad, really. Not really too cold either. Sort of a perfect conditions for a football player, I suppose. But as long as it's wet, John, I'm quite happy that it's going to be quite damp, because it means that plastic pitch is going to be at least wet. Because you know what it's like when we go to these grounds, Kilmarnock, Livingston, and anybody else that we've went to in the past. They don't water that plastic pitch, John, and the ball sticks to that surface. The players can't get used to the bounce of the ball, things like that, John. The passing's all off until half an hour into the game, and then they start adjusting to it. So as long as that pitch is wet, then that shouldn't be a problem for us. Shouldn't have been an excuse either way anyway, John, should it?
No, and you've got to remember Celtic have got a plastic pitch at Lennoxtown they can train on. There's also a plastic pitch at that new place they've built at Barrowfield. So there's places where these Celtic players can go and train on that surface for a couple of days. I know it might be slightly different to Livingston's surface, but there is plastic pitches available for Celtic to practice on. So the way I look at that is there isn't any excuse. If you play on that for a few days, train on it, you should be used to it and practice how you're going to play on that surface.
Yeah, that's it, John. That's it. There's no excuses there at all, really, is there? But anyway, we just need to play the game and see what happens. 3 points, an absolute must. Because bearing in mind, Rangers are playing Motherwell, John, at Ibrox. They play the same time as us, and Hearts play before us, John. So Hearts will probably be 9 points ahead of us by the time we kick off with 2 games in hand. But it's Hibs they're playing, John. So both Rangers and Hearts have got very tough games. The Hibs and Hearts games at Easter Road. Rangers play Motherwell, on-form team at Ibrox. So something's going to give in these games as well, I suppose. We'll wait and see later on today. But a quick look at the pricing, John, on the first goal scorer, John. Let's have a wee quick look at that. Daisen Maeda, 3-2. We've got Shinya Mada, 13-8. Johnny Kenny, 13-8. Nygren, 9-5. Who else have we got? James A. Forrest, 18-5. Arnie Engels, 17-4. Yang, 17-4. Hitati, 92. Luke McCowan, 92. Bernardo, if he plays, 11-2. Stevie May. Yes, Stevie May still playing. He's at 11-2 to score the first goal. Should have laughed because he probably scored it. I've still laughed. Callum McGregor, 6-1. And who else? Let's have a wee look at a couple of the defenders. Donovan, if he plays, 12-1 to score the first goal. And Anthony Ralston, 12-1, the same as Liam Scales, John. So that's a rough idea of who's going to score the first goal. But to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter who scores the first goal, because all we want is Celtic to walk out of that park today with 3 points in the back pocket.
Aye, sorry, I had you muted there.
No problem. I'd mute me as well, John. Don't worry about it.
I was holding something in my right hand, and I went to press the mouse, and I forgot I had something in my right hand, and it's that, right? Must it you talk about damp wet earlier?
Quickly moving on.
Right. No,
we're going to talk Sorry, we're going to talk about the correct score because we do have a competition, correct score. We have a correct score competition, so I'm going to give some pricing on some correct scores, John. We don't normally do this, but we might as well do it. Celtic to win 2-1 is 15-2. 2-0 to Celtic is also 15-2. 1-0 to the champions is priced at 8-1. 3-1 to the champions is 11-1. 3-0 to the champions 11-1. And 4-0 to the champions 22-1. If you want to be outside bet, you've got 5-0, 55-1, and 6-0, 100-1 to Celtic. A wee quick look at the draw. We have nothing each draw, priced at 18-1, 1 each draw, 17-2, and a 2 each draw, priced at 16-1. And unthinkable, a 1-0 win for Livingston is 18-1, and a 2-1 win for Livingston is priced at 16-1. Anything float your boat there, John?
I'm not really sure. I don't want to commit right now because I've not gave my score prediction.
That's it, yeah.
No, I don't. I fancy I do fancy a Celtic win against Livingston. They're bottom in the league, and I'm always looking at this place. 3/4 of the stadium full of Celtic fans. Celtic just off the back of a very decent win against Aberdeen. By the way, Anthony Ralston had a couple of cracking shots against Aberdeen, and James Forrest, we have to congratulate him, scoring 17 seasons in a row for Celtic.
Brilliant from the wee man, wasn't it? I know it was just a tap and it was all the work was done beforehand, but he's got to be there to slot the ball home. So well done to wee James Forrest. Still a legend, will always be a legend at Celtic, still scoring goals, still helping the team out, absolutely outstanding. And as you say, John, yeah, I think we hit the woodwork 4 or 5 times. Unbelievable. That game could have been another 9-0 easily, 9-1.
Oh, very easily. That could have been double figures easily, that one. The way Celtic, 30 odd shots in goal. I don't know how many were on target, but look, bar, post. I don't know how many times, 5 I think it was, the keeper pulled off world-class save after world-class save. Sitters galore by Johnny Kenny. He can't be starting this week. He's got to start with somebody else up front. But we've talked about that game anyway earlier. But go to the Livingston game. I don't know what I fancy for a score prediction for this one. We'll do that in the score predictor when it comes up. But I'd maybe take a wee punt on a Celtic winning this one, but I wouldn't bet on them keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah, that's it. We're conceding goals right left and centre. 32 now for Kasper Schmeichel this season. 32 goals, unbelievable. So there's a change needed there, I'm afraid. I don't care, as you say, John. I don't care if people say no. It's got to be Kasper Schmeichel. I want to see goalkeepers with a 3, 4, 5 game run with clean sheets, John, and that's just not happening with Kasper just now. As regards to the referee for this one, we have Nick Walsh in the middle, John. He's the man in the middle. Nick Walsh with I think it's Mark McDermott. No, I'll take that back, John, isn't it? It's Mark McDermott in the middle of the park and Nick Walsh on the VAR. So that's your official for this one, John, your officials. Right, okay, starting lineup, John. What are you thinking, John?
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say. Look, I'm just looking at the goalkeeper position right now. There is a lot of people talking about Sinisalo coming back. I'm going to go for Sinisalo in the goalmouth. I'm hoping for that. I'll go for that anyway. Yeah. Fingers crossed it is him. Just a better keeper right now. Austin Trusty, of course, he's your trusted centre half. With Anthony Ralston and Kieran Tierney beside him. I think that will be the case.
Yeah.
Centre of the park, Rio, if he's back. I'm not sure if he'll start this one because Wilfred managed to get a winning formula with the last starting lineup. Nygren, Engels, and Callum McGregor. I'll stick with that.
Yeah.
Up front, Dyson. On I don't know, maybe he likes Dyson on the left-hand side, probably in that the forward 3, the 2 behind him. I think Dyson will start there, the left-hand side. Don't know if Jamesy will start this one after his goal. Deserves a restart. Played well, Nick. I'll go for Jamesy. And up front, it's tough, isn't it? there's only Johnny Kenny really, because isn't he actually still injured? Unless you, what's his name? No one in Moura, the other one. Shin Yamada, aye.
Yeah.
Johnny Kenny can't start, Sander. He's missing far too many sitters, man. You can't keep playing a striker that can't hit a barn door.
No,
It's got to start with somebody else.
Yeah, he's not the answer, John, is he? He's not the answer. Unfortunately for the young lad, he's dropped now. He's had 2 or 3, maybe even 4 games now where he's failed to hit the net so many times in every game, John. I mean, the chances against Aberdeen were 5-year-old stuff, John. A 5-year-old could have buried their chances. And I'm not bringing this boy down. We're just trying to give an example of how easy these chances were. You know, letting the ball bounce off his shin to go by for a goal kick when we had the goalkeeper to beat. You know, chance after chance, missed, spun chances. You know, this is why, you know, Nancy has had such a rough time, because he's played Johnny Kenny up front and he's missed chance after chance in the first half hour of all of these games, John. So, you know, his hands are tied. You know, we don't have great options up front just now. But, you know, even if you need to put Dyson through the middle or something, John, bring in Shin Yamada. You know, Johnny has to start working on his finishing. It really does. We want that boy to succeed as much as anybody does, John. But, you know, when you're playing for Celtic and we're struggling in the league, we're 6 points behind Hearts. He's got to start finding the net, and he's got to start doing it now.
Aye, I mean, I says it before. It reminds me of the Wayne Biggins era. He's the Wayne Biggins of 2025. He's the... I hate saying that about any Celtic player. I want the boy to succeed, like I want every Celtic player to succeed. But I don't know what his problem is. He's got good pace and all that. He's absolutely no strength, by the way. And he looks quite lazy at times. He can't start this game. This is vitally important. I know there's only 17 games we've played so far, but every game is must win right now. And if we start with him, it's making it more difficult. Because if he'd have took his chances against Aberdeen, it'd have been 6-0 at half time.
Yeah, and you can say the same for the 2 games before that as well, John. I mean, the Dundee United game alone, we could have been out of sight in the first half if it wasn't for the chances that Johnny Kenny missed. And, you know, it can happen to any striker. Any striker can be off form. We do understand that. But when the team is, let's be honest, in a sort of a mini crisis, we need every player to score the chances that he's been missing, because they're clear cut, John. They're clear cut as you're going to get. It's not as if he's having to take it around 4 or 5 and then put the ball in the net. It's tap-ins he's missing, John. It's tap-ins. So if he does start, good luck to him, because we want him to succeed, and we just want the boy to find the net. Livingston predicted lineup for me, John: Pryor, Brennett, Wilson, Finlayson, Montano, Tate, Silla, May, Pittman, Yang, and Boku. That's the starting 11 for Livingston for me in this one, John. And you mentioned the predictor a wee bit later on. Let's get into it, John. We mentioned the winners from last week, the Aberdeen game. Claire A got the 3 points. I got the 3 points, and Fatboy 1967 got the 3 points. So everybody that's listening or watching this, get your guesses in for the Livingston game later on today. What's your prediction for the correct score? 1 guess each into the comments section. Good luck with that, everybody, especially the regulars that are in that league table. Get your guesses in now. Right, John, let's get into our predictor. We'll start with the league table for us. What are you saying? Livingston against Celtic, what's your thoughts?
Thinking of the league table, the big league table, Jamesy Forrest humped a few out of 3 points. I could have been at the top there. But James has stepped up with that 3rd goal, and quite a few people had 2-1 on. James has stepped up with the 3rd one and killed it for us.
Yeah, he's done it. That's happened. Sorry, John, that's happened to me quite a few times this season. I've had the correct score right up until the last second, and then boom, goal, and you've lost 3 points into it. It's quite annoying, even though Celtic have scored an extra goal. You don't get the 3 points. It happened to me quite a few times actually this season. And it happened to you, John, as you say, it happened to you, and it happened to a few others, because there was quite a few that said 2-1 to Celtic against Aberdeen. But this is the joy. This is the joy of the league table. The game lasts for 90 odd minutes, right to the final whistle, John. So I take it if I had a wee think about Livingston, because I know I have, but what are you thinking anyway, John? I'll give you a first go at this one.
It sounds like you're having a wee dig, a wee kind of gloat about that there, Xander. Kind of, never mind, you tried hard, that kind of thing.
No. All I'm saying is, many times has that last minute goal beat me in this league table. And various others, by the way, various others.
I had one, didn't I, a few weeks ago when Yang, I says he took a nice wee dive in the box for the penalty.
So he did. So he did. He dived in the box and beat me for 3 points. No one did he beat me for 3 points. He gave you 3 points. So, this is what makes it fun, John. Absolutely brilliant.
So that's a good laugh, innit? Anyway, all the nonsense aside, let's go on with the score predictor for Livingston against Celtic. I don't know how much confidence Celtic will take out of that one against Aberdeen. Nobody much. They will have taken a bit of confidence out of that. So I think it's still going to be a sticky game. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to go for 2-0 for Celtic in this one. I know it says the defence is maybe going to let us down, but I'm going to go for 2-0 to Celtic, Sander.
Yeah, I've got my doubts about a clean sheet, to be honest with you, John. I'm not sure. I've got my doubts. I'm thinking 3-1 or 3-0. I don't know. But it's Livingston bottom of the table, not scoring many goals at all. I'm going to go to 3-0, John. I'm going to give us... We need a clean sheet, don't we? We really do. And if Sinisalo's in goals, like you say, John, then there's a wee chance we'll get a clean sheet. So I'm going to go to 3-0 in this one, which brings us nicely on to the weekend predictor, John. Let's do it, starting today's games. And every single SPL game is today, John. It's on the Saturday, every single one. And we'll start with the Edinburgh Derby. Hibs against Hearts, 12:30 kick-off. What are you thinking, John?
I just think Hearts are too strong for Hibs. The Hibs haven't got a great record against Hearts, have they? I know it's at Easter Road, but even at that, it's always like these games they tend to be quite close as well. There's never like a really one-sided Edinburgh Derby, if you want to call that, the Rossa Derby, Totty Scone Derby, I call it. But yeah, I think these games tend to be quite close. I think when it's at Tynecastle, they're always close, but Hearts always seem to edge it. And when it's at Easter Road, it tends to be a draw. Most of the time, I mean. So for that reason, I'm going to take a draw. I'm going to say 1 each.
Yeah, I'm taking the draw as well, John. Nothing each for me in this one. Hibs against Hearts later on today. We'll wait and see. Okay, Dundee against Falkirk. Not much I can say about that game, John. Falkirk decent. Dundee can sometimes be decent. But what's your prediction for that one, John?
Dundee are a difficult team to predict, aren't they? Falkirk, John McGlynn, I think. It's away from home, though, isn't it? I'm going to go for a away win. I'm going to go for a Falkirk win. 2-1 to Falkirk.
1 each, and that one for me. Moving on to the game at Ibrox, John. The Rangers against Motherwell. Motherwell, a team on form, playing really some nice stuff. Really are the Well. Rangers, decent players in their team, but they're getting the results that we weren't getting, against your Dundee Uniteds, your Kilmarnocks, that sort of stuff where we weren't getting their results. So they're no bad at getting results against them. It's when they come up against your Celtics and your Hearts and your Hibs, Aberdeens type players, and then Europe as well, John, they struggle. So Motherwell are a team on form, but what are you thinking, John?
I've still not seen Motherwell this season, apart from when Celtic played them. I keep meaning to watch them because I've heard people raving about them. But when it comes to watching other Scottish games like that, I prefer to watch Dundee United. I'll watch Hearts, I'll watch Aberdeen. But for some reason, I've managed to miss every Motherwell game this season, apart from the Celtic one. So I've still not seen them. I know they get a result at Ibrox. I was at Fir Park. Fir Park, wasn't it? When they played
Fir Park, yeah.
It's a hard one to call, isn't it? I think Rangers might struggle in this one as well. I'm going to go for 1 each.
I think Rangers' heads will be down after the loss to Hearts, John, because I think they thought that was the game they were going to claw their way back into the league title. John, they ended up further behind, 12 points to be accurate behind Hearts, which is, at this stage of the season, it's quite a lot. It really is. If we win a game in hand, we're only 3 points behind. So for Rangers to fall 12 points behind Hearts, that is, I'll say 2-1 to Motherwell, John. Okay, St Mirren against Kilmarnock.
And again, I think I predicted a correct score for that one the last time at
Right.
Rugby Park. I can't remember, but I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Let's St Mirren win in this one, I think. League Cup winner, St Mirren.
We're not going to start going on about that, are we? To be fair to St Mirren, as regards to that, John, I don't want to interrupt when you're on your flow there, but they've not been hitting many of that nonsense that Aberdeen did. Aberdeen, Scottish Cup winners, Aberdeen. But I've no saw League Cup winners at St Mirren once. So I don't know what that was all about. So, and we both like St Mirren as a club. They've got decent wee fans there. Well, don't know what height they are, but they've got decent fans there, decent crowds, no nonsense coming for their supporters. They have their wee ultra sections, blah blah blah. But they're a decent wee club. They're doing well also. No nonsense after winning the cup. In fact, John, I've not heard a single thing after they've won that League Cup, to be honest with you. So fair play to them. A team with a bit of some morals, shall we say. They've got some morals, St Mirren, unlike Aberdeen, Scottish Cup winners Aberdeen, that is, John. But me thinking of this one anyway, John, St Mirren versus Kilmarnock.
I just remember when you talk about Scottish Cup winners Aberdeen, how it was getting said by everybody for about 5 months. Scottish Cup winners Aberdeen, this Scottish Cup winners Aberdeen, that, after getting pumped 6-0 and all that. But I watched a wee guy's vlog, Aberdeen fan, the start of the season. I can't remember who they were playing. Did they get a result against Rangers or something like that? I can't remember, but it's one of the games I wanted to watch. The vloggers, sometimes I watch the vloggers when there's a good result that I like, and it was Aberdeen. And the wee guy that was doing the vlog, here they come when the teams were coming out the tunnel. Scottish Cup winners Aberdeen. Come on, even their fans are saying it.
Yeah, that's it.
Or here they come, Scottish Cup winners Aberdeen, eh?
That's it. No, and fair play to Aberdeen for winning the Scottish Cup as well. But the overreaction to that was unbelievable. Anything but Celtic, isn't it, John? It really is in this country. Anything but Celtic, and that was a clear case of that. They're still going on about it to this day, John. I still saw some headlines: Scottish Cup winners Aberdeen. But poor wee lowly St Mirren, John, hardly gets mentioned, the fact that they won the League Cup. I know that I've saw anyway. But it brings us back to this, John. St Mirren against Kelly.
I think St Mirren were great in the League Cup final, by the way. Thoroughly deserved their win against Celtic. I hate to admit that, but it's a wee team that I like, St Mirren. Very good wee club, that good wee local team. But always tough games with the two. They're normally quite close. I'll go for a narrow Saints win. I'm going to say 1-0 to St Mirren.
Yeah, 2-0 to St Mirren in that one for me. And final game in the SPL anyway, we've got Aberdeen against Dundee United. That's obviously some sort of derby as well, isn't it? New Firm derby. Aberdeen against United, John, what do you think?
They might as well call it the Old Firm derby, because there's no such thing in Glasgow anymore.
Well, I might as well call it the Old Firm derby, because the Glasgow derby is a new derby. So
exactly.
Should the Glasgow derby be called the New Firm derby, and the Aberdeen Dundee United derby be called the Old Firm derby? Give us your thoughts.
Well, if you've got my answer right away, aye.
Well, there you go. But the Scottish press wouldn't allow it, John, would they? So, what do you think this one anyway, John? Aberdeen against United.
No, it's the oldest derby in Scotland, so it is the Old Firm derby. Anyway.
Yeah.
The Glasgow derby's only, 13-year-old? Something like that. So.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, where is it? Tannadice. I keep losing my way here. Is it Tannadice?
Pittodrie.
Dundee United at Pittodrie. I thought Aberdeen, were quite poor at Celtic Park, to be honest with you. It was either that or Celtic were out of this world. Take your pick. I'll go for a Dons win in this one. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Aberdeen.
Okay. Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 0 for me, John. I think John Goodwin's got them playing some decent stuff. They're just off the back of beating Celtic. Blah, blah, blah. John, I'm going for Dundee United. Let's move into the Scottish Championship. We've got Bruno Watch.
By the way.
Sorry, who we were against?
Hibs. We played against Hibs.
Right.
Drew 1 each. Rotten. Anyway, on you go, Xander.
I think Tilleen has got that team. I don't think they know what they're doing. John, to be honest with you, they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down. There's no consistency with Aberdeen, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going for United. Championship, John, Bruno Watch and Lenny Watch. We'll start with Bruno Watch. We've got Morton against Ayr United. Scott Brown's Ayr United. United doing okay just now, John. Few wins there. What you thinking, buddy?
I used to always say Morton are a half decent team, but they always get beat when I say that. So I'll stick with a Brunei win. I'm going to go for 2-0 to Ayr. Yeah,
I know, John. I know what you're saying. I'm going to go 1 each in that one. I don't know why. I'm just going to say 1 each. A draw for Brunei. And Lenny Watch, we've got some sort of derby here as well, John. Raith Rovers against Dunfermline. Neil Lennon's Dunfermline away from home. Just off the back of getting beat by Ayr United in Dunfermline. So, and they're away from home. But what do you think, John? Raith Rovers against Dunfermline.
I'm going to go for the home win here. I'm going to go for a Raith Rovers win in this one. I'm going to say 3-1 to Raith Rovers.
3-1, eh? 1 each, John. And I'm going for a sitting on the fence number there, 1 each in that one as well. Excuse me. Got a bit of a dry cough the day after all the Christmas celebrations, I don't think. It's okay. We move into the Lowland League, John, with Celtic B play. We have Stirling University against Celtic B, who are absolutely dreadful, let's be honest. Losing every single game, more or less, that they play. I think they were okay at the start of the season, but this one, John, what do you think? Stirling University against Celtic.
2-0 to Stirling. Nah, I'm going to change it to a Celtic B win. 6-0 to Celtic B. Well, that's a joke, of course. I'm going to go for a narrow win for Celtic B, 2-1.
Right, okay. That was no bad. That's tough, isn't it, Jeremy? Because it's so hard to pick a prediction. Even if it's just a guess, you don't know much about them, but week after week, you've got Celtic B getting beat, and I'm going to go 1-2, John. 1-2 to Celtic B. A 2-1 win for Celtic B against the boys in the university there, John. So, okay, that wraps up to... Sorry, John?
I've not been great, have they? Celtic
No.
B. What do you think that B stands for?
Answers on a postcard, or just leave it in the comments if you want. No, John, they're poor, very poor. I agree with you. All right, that's it. That's the predictor done. Quite interesting, John, when we go through that, because we don't just talk about Celtic on this podcast. We don't. It's 99% Celtic, and it's always based on Celtic. But even the predictors based on Celtic with SPL and Lenny and Brunei. But John, we do talk about other clubs as well, so it makes it a wee bit more. Expands the horizon, shall we say? Right, John. Okay, Livingston later on in the day. What's your final wee sum, John? What you thinking, buddy? What you want out of this game? What's your thoughts?
Just more of the same that we did against Aberdeen. I think that's all you can ask for. Good performance, pin Livingston back. I thought Celtic were terrific against Aberdeen, but I think Livingston will be a bit more street smart than Aberdeen. I think they'll park the bus. I think they'll be better defensively. But if they play like that, make that park feel massive for Livingston and spread that ball about the way they were spreading. I thought Celtic were out of this world. They play like that against Livingston. There's only one outcome, but you've got to remember Livingston will park the bus, so they've got to be a wee bit more sharp in front of goal. If you're sharp in front of goal against Livingston, there's only one outcome, and that's a win for Celtic.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed, Johnny, because something's going to give in these other 2 games later on. Hearts playing Hibs and Rangers playing Motherwell. But we need to win. Either way, we need to win. And it'd just be lovely to get those points on the boards, John. It really would, because, I think if Hearts drop a couple of points, Rangers drop a couple of points, and then we win on, at 3 o'clock, I think it would be, it would set the wheels turning, shall we say, for us to kick on this season, John. It really would. But, it's all if, buts and maybes, but we've got to win against Livingston. That's the bottom line. And then we move on to a very tough game, John, on Tuesday night against Motherwell. Very tough. Rangers play St Mirren on Tuesday night. So a very tough game for them as well, John. So, and I don't know when Hearts play, John. Did they play Monday night, maybe? I know this festive thing. We're right slap bang in the middle of these festive fixtures just now. And I don't think Hearts play. I'm just looking at it just now, John. Looking at Tuesday fixtures. We have Dundee against Kilmarnock, Hibs against Aberdeen, Livingston against Dundee United, Rangers against St Mirren on Tuesday, and Motherwell against Celtic. I don't see Hearts there. I click into Wednesday. We have no SPL games, John. So I don't know why Hearts are not playing on Wednesday, but it is a great chance on Tuesday night for both Celtic and Rangers to claw back some points on Hearts, if indeed we do beat Livingston later on today.
Aye, Bill, this is it, isn't it? I mean, the Hearts fans are getting a wee bit too cocky for me, the way they're going on and on. You read comments on YouTube videos and all that, they're starting to actually get in my nerves. They actually think they've won the league already. It's only Celtic can put a stop to these shenanigans for these pretenders to the throne. And that's what they are. They're pretenders. They're not going to win the league, I don't think. I still don't think they'll win the league. And if I'm proven wrong, then that's the way it is. But I'm going to just lay it on the line and say it. I just do not think Hearts are going to win this league. Do you?
Absolutely not, John. I don't think they've got any chance of winning the league. See, once Celtic and, let's be honest, John, and Rangers, just to say, flex their muscles in this January transfer window. Because let's be honest, Hearts are going to sign sort of a lower league players, players that are, they're doing well, but they're playing in lower leagues and sort of a lower cost players, $500,000 here, $500,000 there. Once the Glasgow two flex their muscles and start that spending power on January, and let's pray to God, John, that Celtic do indeed flex that muscle for Wilfred Nancy, because the guy needs his own players into the club. It's as simple as that. We need fresh blood into the club. We have done for a wee while, John. The board didn't back Brendan Rodgers in the summer there, but we definitely need the board to back Wilfred Nancy, in a few days.
Oh, he's got to be backed. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll get him something, some players that he wants, he thinks fits his system. Because I think there's too many Celtic players right now that they don't feel comfortable in that system. By the way, I was looking at the Hearts fixtures. They're playing Hibs, obviously, the day. And then their next game is the 3rd of January. And it's at home to Livingston. So they're not playing till the 3rd of January.
Yeah, there's a chance here, John. There's a chance. There's a big chance, John. I know it's Livingston. Then it's a very tough game at Fir Park. And then a Glasgow derby, John. So very, very tough. We'll wait and see, John. We'll wait and see what happens. As we always say, we can only take one game at a time. Diego Rossi, John. Diego Rossi, is he the answer to our striking problems? We'll soon find out. We'll catch you Monday, John.
Catch you Monday, Sander. Hail, hail.
Hail, John. Catch you all later.